Welcome to Alpha Recap, your quick, smart wrap of the market day. Markets closed today, and we're breaking down the biggest moves from April 13th. As always, if you have questions, you can reach us at stockalpha.ai. Ready to jump in?
Yeah, ready. Big day of headlines. Some of these feel like they're reshaping how equity markets and crypto interact.
Totally. Let's start with the headliner. A firm called Bitmine moved its listing to the New York Stock Exchange and disclosed a sizable crypto treasury. They reported about 4.9 million ETH and roughly $11.8 billion in crypto and cash. Big number.
Huge. So what really stands out here is the scale. That's about 81% of a stated target to hold 5% of ETH supply. That makes the company a pretty concentrated crypto play on public markets.
Right. And the NYSE transfer matters too. Increased visibility, more liquidity, and potentially more institutional eyes on the stock. In practice, that tends to make the equity trade more like a lever on the underlying crypto.
Exactly. Analysts note that once a public company is holding that much crypto on its balance sheet, the equity starts behaving as a proxy for ETH price moves. So, volatility in ETH becomes a core risk for the stock.
There's also the question of what they do with the holdings: staking, hedging, financing. Those choices change the risk profile a lot.
Yeah, watch for follow-up disclosures on whether they stake the ETH, use derivatives, or plan any financing tied to the Treasury.
And a quick note for listeners: if you're tracking potential knock-on effects, pay attention to ETH price moves and any shifts by other listed crypto proxies.
That intersection between crypto treasuries and public equities is becoming a recurring theme.
Switching gears, energy had a notable analyst call today. Truist raised Ovintiv's price target to $72, citing stronger production as the reason.
That's production-driven re-rating. When an operator reports stronger output, that can feed straight into cash flow and free cash flow assumptions, which is exactly the lever analysts use to push targets higher.
So traders and analysts will be digging into well-level numbers, CapEx outlooks, and realized prices to see if the bump is sustainable.
Right. It's not just a headline. The market will look for operational confirmation in the company's next reports. If the production trend holds, more analysts might follow suit.
Quick reaction segment. Short and sweet.
Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Now on microcaps. There was a rough day for one small name. ZSPC fell about 4.4% to 7 cents on heavy volume. 121.26 million shares traded.
Oof. Heavy volume at that price can really magnify execution risk and slippage. Analysts usually say, watch filings or company news that might explain the dump, because without that explanation, sustained pressure is possible.
And just to be clear for listeners, that kind of microcap move is not uncommon, but it underscores liquidity risk for traders. Small floats get whipped around.
Exactly. Keep an eye on volume trends and any regulatory filings.
Let's move to industrials. Gorbel launched a hoist with integrated variable frequency drive control. The product promises smoother operation and higher precision, though the company didn't give pricing or order data.
Product upgrades like that are interesting because they signal a shift from component sales to systems-level value. Integrating drives into hoists can simplify procurement for customers and potentially push demand toward full-service solutions.
Vital MedTech also showed a vertically integrated approach at the big medical expo in Shanghai, linking semiconductor material expertise to downstream imaging components.
Which is the other side of the same coin. Control more of the supply chain to reduce single-point failures and capture more margin. Analysts will want to see actual customer contracts or case studies to believe the revenue story.
Short reaction again.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
On consumer tech, the third annual KOLs and Buyers' Favorite Gaming Gear Awards highlighted a trend we've been watching. Companies moving from raw specs to user experience, ergonomics, and ecosystem integration.
I mean, when you step back and look at this, marginal spec gains are losing sell-through power. Winners now are firms that build software and services around hardware. That ecosystem stickiness can drive repeat purchases and higher margins.
Analysts noted examples like big platform plays in other categories, GPU ecosystems, or device plus services strategies as analogs for what peripheral makers want to achieve.
And KOL endorsement accelerates adoption at retail and among distributors. Watch winners from these awards for follow-through in marketing and software features.
Healthcare and community engagement had two interesting stories. Care Connect launched Care Consortium, an e-learning platform that claims more than 50% cost savings on compliance training for home care and long-term care.
If true, that's a big efficiency play. Training budgets are a recurring cost for providers, so a halving of spend, again, subject to verification, could be a lever for adoption if it integrates well with operations.
ServiceTitan opened qualifying for its Elite Trades Championship with a prize pool of more than $120,000. It's a marketing play aimed at plumbing and HVAC pros.
Community-driven marketing like that can improve customer acquisition efficiency. Gamified tournaments turn pros into advocates, which helps retention and cross-sell.
Regional expansion highlights. Dogo Power held a partnership recruitment event in Bamako, Mali, pushing into North Africa. And the National Financial Educators Council expanded chapters across multiple southeastern states.
Local presence matters a lot in markets with distinctive permitting and consumer behaviors. For Dogo, the key metric will be whether those partnerships turn into contracts. For the educators group, adoption and fintech partnerships will validate the strategy.
Let's pause and call out some patterns we kept seeing across today's briefs.
Go for it.
First, specs to experience. Hardware makers are leaning into UX and ecosystems. Second, balance sheet scale in crypto. Public companies holding large token treasuries are increasing equity crypto correlation. Third, vertical integration is a recurring theme. MedTech and industrials trying to own more of the stack. And finally, engagement as marketing. Firms using community and cost savings narratives to drive adoption.
That summary tracks. Those are exactly the narratives analysts will be watching for evidence in earnings calls and customer announcements.
What should listeners watch for tomorrow? A few items made the top of our list.
Right. First, any follow-up disclosures from Bitmine on staking, hedging, or financing plans. That could materially change the balance sheet story.
Second, look for operational reports or analyst commentary from Ovintiv that substantiate the production claims behind the price target lift.
Third, supplier earnings calls for mentions of VFD orders or motor demand to validate Gorbel's positioning. And for Vital MedTech, watch for partnership announcements or customer case studies from the trade show.
Also, check for filings or PR from ZSPC explaining the heavy trade. Continued volume will tell the story. Pressure versus stabilization.
And finally, any broader market reaction in ETH price following Bitmine's disclosure, or if other listed crypto proxies make similar Treasury moves.
Quick hits. Rapid-fire recap of the day's key numbers. Bitmine, about 4.9 million ETH and about $11.8 billion in crypto and cash, and the company moved to the New York Stock Exchange. Ovintiv, price target raised to $72 by Truist, citing stronger output. ZSPC, down about 4.4% to 7 cents on 121.26 million shares traded. Gorbel launched a hoist with integrated variable frequency drive control. Vital MedTech showcased vertical integration at the big exhibition in Shanghai. Care Connect launched Care Consortium, claiming more than 50% training cost savings. ServiceTitan opened qualifying for its Elite Trades Championship with a prize pool over $120,000. Dogo Power hosted a partnership event in Bamako. The Educators Council expanded chapters in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina.
Good recap. Quick reactions.
Short and to the point.
Yep.
Before we close, a short legal reminder. This podcast is informational only. Analysts note trends and catalysts, but we're not offering personalized advice, and we aren't recommending buying, selling, or holding any specific securities. Listeners should verify details, consult company filings, and consider their own objectives and risk profile.
Important to remember, data suggests momentum and correlations, but not everything plays out the same way in markets.
Final takeaways. 1. Public companies building big crypto treasuries change how equities and token markets interact. Follow disclosures closely. 2. Production beats still move energy names and can lead to price target revisions. Validate with operations. 3. Product integration and vertical moves point to more systems-level competition in industrials and medtech. 4. Community and UX-focused marketing are increasingly core go-to-market plays for software and hardware players.
And watch the microcaps. Heavy volume at low prices can create outsized moves and execution risk, so filings and volume trends matter there.
That's a wrap for today. If you have questions about anything we covered, head to stockalpha.ai, where you can ask us directly and we'll answer live. For more market analysis and insights, visit stockalpha.ai. Thanks for listening to Alpha Recap. We'll see you next time.